Hey guys, and welcome back. So I'm trying to move on to other topics besides the wives of the presidential candidates and the presidential candidates themselves getting into some crazy scrapes, but the hits just keep coming, and this involves the panties of one of the wives. So we have some clarification of that disgruntled city employee, or we should say the county employee, the public officer, the public servant, the level 7 public servant that was abused by the level 5 chief of staff of Lee Jae-myung, the liberal candidate for president, the one that is like the so-called Bernie Sanders of Korea, although it's looking more like he may be like the Bernie Madoff of Korea. And the level 7 employee actually turns out to be a man. And why this is significant is that it turns out that among his many tasks that crossed the line and the boundaries was to organize Lee Jae-myung's wife's underwear drawer. Now, in Korea, we have two main words for underwear. One is 속옷, which is like underwear or undergarments, and it's much more broad. And when you want to talk about like, even like an undershirt, and it's much more technical. But usually when you're talking about the underwear that you wear on the bottom half, we usually call it panty. And I always laughed at that word because to me it just sounds so intimate in almost like a comical way. So when they're reporting it on the news, they're kind of like saying like, oh man, this guy had to organize her panties. he had to organize her panties. I mean, what kind of task is that? And so no wonder this guy didn't last too long. He went through all of this hard work probably to make it as an employee, because in Korea it's really hard to get a job, and a lot of times these days people really want to be a public servant because it's seen as a stable career path, benefits, and probably a pension later on in life. So it's a big thing if you quit. And so this evidence comes from his working actually last year in 2021. So this is all very fresh and recent. So not only did he have to go pick up all the steaks and the sushi and the sandwiches and the fruit, he had to organize the wife's panty drawer. Oh my God. That is just so crazy. Now, if he had to take pictures of the panty drawer, just like the way that he had to take pictures of even which shopping bag to put the gifts in, how the strawberries looked, how the meat looked, then you know what? He should release it, because I think if he releases the pictures of the wife's panties, I think the campaign could be over. It could be game over if we have Pantygate. Why? If the panties are like La Perla or a Natori or some real expensive panties, she going around saying like, oh, she's so poor, like she has to use a 24-year-old air conditioner, her microwave don't work, she barely has a functioning TV, and she walking around with like La Perla underneath, then I think Pantygate will end Lee Jae-myung's political career. I mean, ironically, it's not like people who are going missing. It's not like a multi-billion-dollar land corruption scandal, or even we barely even got into the football team scandal, or even the county cash card scandal. If Pantygate can take it down, it can just be clean, one and done, because that might just do it. So dude, if you got the pictures from your Telegram, I think just bring it out. Just bring it out. Okay, so now let's move on to the husband, because Mr. Shin, you know, my favorite conservative YouTuber, he's so shady. He is bringing up some news about, and he's not the only shady one, because he is actually reporting on somebody else reporting of pictures that have been released of Lee Jae-myung just drinking and smoking. And that on its own is not that big of a controversy, because there's a lot of Korean men and just men around the world who just, you know, drink beer and smoke cigarettes, and even if it's indoors, because we don't exactly know when this picture was taken. It could be when you are still allowed to smoke indoors at a Korean restaurant, or even if he was breaking the rules, like, you know, because he was saying, like, you know, he's a VIP, maybe he was smoking indoors. Like, I think the Korean public might still be like, okay, what's the big deal? The big deal, though, is that he goes around saying that, oh, I don't drink or smoke. I'm so innocent. I don't drink or smoke because it's a commitment to my parents, or like, you know, I always try to like save my money and give it to my parents, and like, you know, I don't, although he's had like tons of DUIs. Remember that actress that, you know, tried to check his D, you know, at the hospital, because, you know, she says that he got a mole down there, and she said that like he has so many DUIs that he's about to get his license revoked. But if he ain't drinking, then how is he getting all these DUIs? Anyhow, so this is total evidence. Not only are there, you know, pictures of him with like mafia members, but he's drinking and smoking, even though he's saying like he doesn't do that. He's so innocent. He's so poor. He's like, you know, but so this is more of a question of lying. You know, does this guy ever stop trying to create this image of himself that is fake, not real? And this is something that is actually kind of quite common in Korea. Just lying. I mean, just to be frank about some aspects of Korea, like some complaints that you might hear about interactions with some Korean people that you might have after living here. One of them is that you will just hear that you will meet people who just, you're just like, they just keep lying. Like, people just lie all the time. It's just like, why do they gotta lie? They're just lying. It's just like, do they have to lie about everything? And I have seen this definitely here personally as well. And I think some of it has, like, if you're looking at the Korean term where it's somewhat legitimate, the word is 뭐 만들어. Like, people say like, oh, we're gonna make it happen. So like in the positive sense, you could kind of see like, you know, Korean people love to say like, oh, we created this country out of the ashes of the Korean War, and we created a glorious modern developed country out of nothing. So you had to create something out of nothing, and you had to dream to build, and you had to sort of fake it till you make it. You know, you had to manifest your destiny. So in that sense, you had to have a vision, and in a way, yes, you are repeating something that did not exist until it made it happen. On the flip side, you're lying, and sometimes you're repeatedly saying something that does not exist and hoping you're doing it until it exists. But for some people, it never exists. So where is that line where it's just lying? To them, it might just be, well, it just hasn't happened yet. But they have a vision and it's happening. To other people, they are just lying. So I think it's just because there is an overall atmosphere, especially among the older generation, where they were trying to manifest, that it was harder to draw a line between those who are just manifesting and those who are just straight up lying, where you're more accepting of the fact, or you're just kind of just like not bothering to see like, is he lying or is he manifesting? It's just like, ugh, whatever. They're just doing them. But now it's just becoming it's becoming problematic because there's just too many liars and fewer manifestors. Let's just put it that way. More liars, fewer manifestors, and I'm just sick of the liars. And in this case, like, why gotta keep lying like this? Yeah, he keep lying like this because y'all keep believing him. And so the wife is asking these government employees to organize her panty drawer. He is pretending that he's so innocent when he, there's nothing wrong in general with, drinking and smoking, depending on like, your views on that, this is not the time or place, like, we're not making judgments on that. But for him to be saying and trying to sell himself as like, oh, I don't do that. And then it turns out like, look, he don't look like that's his first time doing it. That's a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem because it looks like he's a habitual liar and he's good at it. And that, to me, makes a lot of the other things he seems to be like kind of dancing around on very sus. And so, and also very creepy, because a lot of these allegations that have been investigated are being stalled, and these are very serious allegations that deal with people's lives and very high amounts of money and high levels of corruption that are just being held in abeyance as if like, oh, we'll just take care of it later, when these are very much high crimes that other people would immediately probably go to jail for. But the Panty thing, that really gets me. No, you're not supposed to organize a woman's panties, because I'll tell you one thing, when I was back in college and visiting Korea, and I was staying with one of my aunts, and we were just doing the laundry, and I was just folding laundry, and I thought I was just like, oh, I need to be a good house guest, and I was just folding laundry, including my aunt's laundry, and it included some of her undergarments. She started like slapping me on like the shoulder, saying like, you're not supposed to fold my undergarments. So I don't know what kind of household they have, because even family is not supposed to fold the laundry of another, female relative's undergarments, let alone have some government worker that you don't even know organize your panty drawer, okay? So that is just some weird, creepy stuff where you're having him organize your panty drawer. Panty. That word is so weird. All right, guys, what do you think? Do you think that some government employee should be organizing the panties? I mean, seriously. I mean, you think like dear white staffers on the whole DC Instagram thing is bad? That is pretty bad. But this, I think, takes the cake. Whew. All right, guys, leave your comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. See you again next time. Bye-bye.